Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Doug.
And I'm Lorenzo.
And this is Good Suffering. Now, on this show, we review a film that I have seen.
But I haven't.
But before we get to that, we've got some horror news.
Horror news.
Okay, so first I'd like to talk about an upcoming film/music tour. We've got some tour news.
Tour news.
Yeah. They will be touring Suspiria with a live score by Goblin, and then Goblin will do, a set, like a set of their hits right after that. But
Goblin, I'm not gonna lie. Who's Goblin?
They did a lot of scores for Italian movies. They're like kind of a proggy band. They did a lot of movie scores. They did Dawn of the Dead. They did, Suspiria. They did Deep Red and Inferno and Demons and a lot of other films.
And that's live.
Yeah, and they toured last year just with their music, but they're going to live score the film.
That is cool.
And then they're going to play either before or after a set of just like a bunch of their music. Oh yeah, it's coming to Brooklyn to Murmur.
Oh right, I remember you sending me that.
Yeah,
that's the same place I saw the greatest human of all time. One of them.
Nick Cave.
Where I got to speak with him.
Yeah.
That's a holy place.
But yeah, they're doing, I think, some England dates and then Canada and then through the Americas. So
sweet.
Yeah, we get a little horror tour. I guess just in time for the new movie, the remake, which is not part of horror news, but I just actually heard, I saw on when I was out earlier, the cut of the movie is going to be more than 2.5 hours long of the new movie. It's gonna be a long one. Yeah.
Good.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna do a little trailer roundup because there's just so many trailers. We're kind of post Comic-Con. This is our first episode after San Diego, so we've got trailers for Castlevania Season 2 comes out in October. We've got trailer for Puppet Master Littlest Reich, I believe, comes out next month. Kind of a reboot for the Puppet Master series. I heard it's just super offensive and stuff. It is just Puppet Master at its Puppet Masteriest. The Slender Man trailer, which I have yet to watch, but I'm super excited about because I was just figuring there was a Slender Man movie coming. Godzilla King of the Monsters, which was great. You saw it too, right? The Godzilla trailer. That's going to be a good one.
Yeah,
super
Millie Bobby
excited.
Brown.
Yeah. Vera Farmiga.
You know,
Parmesan.
A listener wanted to point out your really strange pronunciation of her name.
I've never heard anybody say it. That's just how I read it.
Yeah, well, they told me how to pronounce it, and I'm just blanking. I think it's just Farmiga.
Parmesan, great.
Yeah.
Okay. Walking Dead Season 9, and with an official yes from Robert Kirkman that Andrew Lincoln will be leaving this series during this season. Super dead official.
Yeah.
And then for a new Bad Robot film, not part of the Cloverfield universe, called Overlord, which is like a World War II horror sci-fi zombie-ish type movie.
That looks pretty cool too.
Looks super cool.
Yeah. COD.
Yeah, basically COD Zombies is a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hulu has passed on Lock and Key, another studio passing on Lock and Key after Dimension, 20th Century Fox, Universal. But as soon as Hulu rejected it, Netflix has officially ordered it to a 10-episode season. Well, they're scrapping the pilot that Hulu made, but they're keeping the director, who is actually Andy Muschietti. I don't know how to say his name, but the guy who directed it. And a script from Joe Hill. They're keeping them on. Joe Hill was the writer of the original comic series. Yeah. They're keeping them on as like EPs or producers, and they're just going to totally go from scratch. But Lock and Key finally has a home, and it looks like it's definitely going to get made. Sweet. Unless Netflix backs out, which probably would be like doom for the show because so many other places have passed on it. There have been so many false starts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm super excited. I read the comic series basically as it was coming out. I think I jumped on the second volume, but I love Lock and Key. And I'm super excited to see what they do with it. It's like horror fantasy.
And that's, do they know when it's going to be out?
Probably sometime next year.
Okay.
It's probably a lot of effects that have to go into it, so something like maybe late next year, maybe early 2020.
Sweet. I'm all for this streaming stuff.
2020, 24 hours ago. I want to be sedated. There's a new Buffy series coming out, a little bit of a reboot with an African-American Buffy. Joss Whedon is going to be executive producer, and it's going to be on Fox. It's going to be a modernization
What?
of it.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not hear about that.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
So Buffy's black.
Yeah.
All right.
Mixed reactions to just the concept as a whole I've seen, but I'm kind of excited. I like Buffy.
Of her being black, or just like the way the story
I mean,
is?
I'm sure there is for that. I haven't seen it, but I'm sure there's somebody out there who's
gotta be.
Yeah. But yeah, just a mixed reaction on bringing the show back. But I'm excited to see what they can do with it. I think it's probably a good time to do something like that. Strong female characters on TV and whatnot. Joss Whedon is Joss Whedon, but
yeah, I think there are people revisiting Buffy too nowadays. People are our age.
I've been waiting to do like a whole rewatch. It's just such a long series, but I'm super excited about this new one. I could jump from the beginning, so
yeah.
There you go. Weird news: the third Annabelle film is being described as Night at the Museum with Demons, because it is going to be about Annabelle bringing to life all of the items in the Warrens' like paranormal museum that Annabelle gets locked away in.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I haven't seen any of those movies, but just that concept right there sounds great.
Sounds like it's going to be kind of bonkers.
Yeah,
kind of crazy.
I'm thinking of a bit of Cabin in the Woods, where all the monsters just have like their day. Yeah.
Shudder is making Creepshow an anthology series, with each episode being a new story, new director, and the first episode is going to be directed by Greg Nicotero, and that's going to come next year. Super excited to revive Creepshow. I hope it's in the vein of the originals, and Tales from the Dark Side, the movies, stuff like that. I'm actually like really, really excited about that, because Creepshow and that kind of just silly, almost effects driven stuff is really right up my alley.
Just fun.
Yeah, super fun. And Shudder has been doing so much cool stuff lately with like the Joe Bob Briggs marathon and stuff. So Shudder is really trying to make a name for itself, not as just a place you can find horror movie, but as a place that you can find original content and a place that you can really interact with as a horror fan. So I've plugged them plenty of times on the show, but if you are not doing it, you should definitely have Shudder, because it's great. It is my favorite streaming service.
And if you if you have to make a new account for Shudder, if you let them know that you're a big listener of ours, it's just not gonna hit them at all. They don't care.
Yeah,
but it means a lot to us.
Yeah, just be like, hey, Good Suffering sent me here.
Yeah,
and they'll be like, who?
Great.
Okay, give us your $5 a month. Oh, and it's only $5 a month.
Yeah,
that's great. Half the price of Netflix.
More than
infinitely
half now, right? I mean,
I think
Netflix just keeps upping the price.
Yeah, and infinitely better quality than the Netflix horror selection. So.
Oh yeah.
Scream Factory at San Diego Comic-Con announced a whole bunch of new films that they're going to be putting out over the next year, and it's a doozy. So I'm gonna list them off.
Do it.
Candyman, finally. Arrow's covering the UK release of that. It's the same transfer though. They cleared that up on the new episode of Shockwaves. A Critters 1 through 4 as a collection. Urban Legend, one of my favorite 90s like teen slasher psycho horror films. I like it kind of more than I like Scream or like I Know What You Did Last Summer. Urban Legends has like Jared Leto in it.
Let me revisit that. Let me check it out. Yeah.
They're also doing Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, which is just crazy. Sleepwalkers, which actually just got a regular Blu-ray release like last year through like a subscription pack, but now they're getting a collector's edition. The Craft, another one of my favorite 90s horror films. Starman, which is like John Carpenter's like one of his non-horror films, but is a great film. Great Jeff Bridges performance. 10 to Midnight, a Charles Bronson starring horror film. Single White Female, another super important like 90s. I think it is 90s, right? Not late horror, not early 2000s. It's 90s. Single White Female with Jennifer Jason Leigh, Bridget Fonda.
I think you're right.
Yeah. And a De Palma film called Obsession, which I have not seen, and I'm super excited too.
Nope, I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah. They've treated the other De Palma films really nicely, so I'm kind of excited to see that. Like they did Carrie up real nice and Raising Cain. So I trust what they do with De Palma and that they'll treat it right. and I'll get to see a new movie for the first time, thanks to Scream Factory.
Thank you, Scream Factory.
Yeah. Did you find out what you wanted to find out about Urban Legend?
Yeah.
Great opening sequence in that movie.
It looks oddly familiar.
Danielle Harris is in it as like a goth girl who like is into BDSM.
Like, I can tell you, I definitely didn't watch it.
Yeah.
But I think
we'll do that when the collector's edition
so much
comes
of
out.
my life is like horror adjacent. Just because I would avoid at all costs.
You would see it, but then you wouldn't.
Yeah.
You dip your toe into the pool, but not jump in.
And then I'm just like, no, thanks. I'm running away from here.
I'm definitely going to cover some of these movies that like, like our pick for next week, which, you guys will find out at the end of this episode, is a little bit that you have a little bit of a history with, but have not seen. So
Yes, correct.
I'm super, super excited for that and see some perspective now. I guess this must be a weird feeling for you, right? Like I remember the first time I saw the Poughkeepsie tapes or any of the other movies that I had just heard about and took me years to find, Carved, the slit-mouthed woman, which like I had only seen the DVD cover for. I had never like watched, and then I watched it a couple years ago.
The Chelsea Smile kind of thing.
Yeah, it's Japanese film. Fuck. It's awesome. It's cool. But I just like J-horror so much. Yeah. But that's it for horror news. But this is our 10th episode.
It is.
Hey, and by the time you're listening to this, we will have already had like a little sort of pseudo retrospective YouTube video, our first video content out up on our YouTube. You just look up Good Suffering or find it on any one of our social medias, have it plugged somewhere. Go check that out. But I'm going to start a little new tradition every 10 episodes where I just want to know what out of these 10 films, including today's Blair Witch Project, what of these 10 films was your favorite?
So I can include Blair Witch or the Blair Witch Project.
Yes.
That's tough because
we've done a lot. We came out of the gate kind of hard, man, with like Texas Chainsaw in the 4th episode. And
I put it to you this way: it's not the Blair Witch Project. I was just thinking, like, I don't want you to know, or I don't want the listeners to know how I feel about it just yet, because we're only horror news. But yeah, okay, this is tough. It's really tough because I enjoyed so much. I enjoyed Rosemary's Baby quite a bit,
which was great for me to rewatch too because it had been a while for me too.
What is it? Dead Alive?
Yeah.
The very first.
Hey.
Such a fun movie. A lot of cool effects. I think it has to be. It's a toss up between two movies. Can you guess which one? Can you guess? You can guess one of them. Probably.
Texas.
Yes.
The other. What else have we done? We did Hellraiser. What did we do after Hellraiser?
By the way, so many of these movies like start coming back to me, and I'm like, wow, that was a much better movie than I even thought. Yeah. Hellraiser was one of them.
Hell yeah.
Hellraiser,
right?
I was just walking around.
Yeah, so good.
I was like, I think walking Milo, and I was just thinking like, wow, Hellraiser. So what was I thinking of? Some dude in like just leather.
Pinhead?
Yeah, I was thinking of leather.
Or just one of the Cenobites.
No, I was
Cenobites.
I was like literally just
just a man in leather.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking.
Oh, you've got some kinks, don't you?
I think so. I think I was thinking about, who was you know what I was thinking about. And I was like, oh yeah, sex is bad. Yeah.
6. What was episode 6?
Oh, numbers.
Yeah.
I can't tell you numbers. But
is it Texas and the Witch?
It's not the Witch.
Wow.
It's not the Witch.
Okay.
No, it's Texas
and
Evil Dead 2.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I got Lorenzo to like an 80s movie. Wow.
All you had to do was show me a good one. That's all you had to do.
Oh, fuck you. But okay, so it's a little toss up?
It's a toss up. I think.
Put him in the ring right now.
Yeah.
Make a choice.
I'm going to go ahead and do it. I can't do it. They're two totally just like I can hold them in the same regard because they're not.
Yeah, but what one do you like better?
I don't know. I like them better for different reasons. Like Evil Dead 2 is just great, like really awesome, ambitious filmmaking, lots of fun. Texas is just like gripping, gritty, just like shocking, traumatizing for the characters. It's just they're two totally different things that I can hold in equal regard. If you're making me pick one, which you are, because your glare is saying it all, I think I have to go with Evil Dead 2.
Wow. Oh my God.
I think
Oh,
so.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. Hey,
Yeah.
look at that. That's so cool. I went into the Evil Dead episodes being like, man, he's going to hate these.
No.
And that's really cool.
No.
That's
I love
awesome.
Texas though. Please, don't
Of course. I love Texas too, man.
talking to like the higher beings of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Toby Hooper in heaven. You're like, no, I loved your movie,
I
man.
really love it. But yeah, Evil Dead 2 is just great.
Yeah. Well, check back in another 10 episodes because we're going to put Evil Dead 2 against your pick for the best movie of 11 to 20. And then we're going to see
boy.
which one you like more of that.
Oh, that's brutal. Okay. It's
And
gonna
then-
be tough to top.
And then we're gonna reflect. I want to reflect back and see if that's still your pick, Evil Dead 2. Now that when you sit on all these movies, your head might go to a different place.
Perhaps. I personally believe just like I don't think anything is gonna be able to top that.
Fair.
I can't imagine. I don't know.
Well, was it
see.
just like the amount of fun you had watching it? It was just
Yeah.
like that's
Like,
really
it
cool.
was just such a great movie. Like I was just so entertained. I was amazed by like the choices that Sam Raimi made and just the way he was like shooting it. And especially because it was a double feature that I got to see the progression. Like that's there's such juxtaposition between the Evil Dead and then Evil Dead 2. I feel like I got to see someone actually, gain their confidence as a filmmaker. And that was exciting. It was exciting. I felt like I was part of the movie and very proud to be part of the project, even though I have nothing to do with it. I'm like, yeah, we did it.
That's awesome to hear, man. This is great. I'm so happy you're starting to really like horror now. When we started this, I was afraid like, this could go south, and he could just be like, I don't think this genre is really what I'm into. But you're totally becoming a little horror guy. You're wearing a Jason t-shirt right now.
I am.
Oh man, that's so cool.
I'm really into horror. I'm into horror because it's so much more than what I thought it was.
You're like the cute girl who's like trying to be into sports for her like jockey boyfriend who is me.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're telling me all this because you want me to sleep with you.
I mean, it is the 10th episode. I feel like I can tell you right now that that's the only reason why I'm doing this podcast.
So today we're talking about the 1999 film The Blair Witch Project, directed by Eduardo Sanchez and Daniel Merrick. It is a huge cultural phenomenon at the time, and we still see the ripples of its effect on horror cinema today. But Lorenzo, give us that IMDb.
Not sponsored by IMDb. Here is the IMDb synopsis for the Blair Witch Project. 3 film students vanish after traveling into a Maryland forest to film a documentary on the local Blair Witch legend, leaving only their footage behind. That is the best one so far. They're killing
Evil Dead was really good, though.
Evil Dead was good. But, I mean, like we said last episode, pretty sure someone from IMDb is listening.
Yeah.
Good suffering.
At this point.
That's great.
Yeah.
No, yeah, spot on.
Yeah, it's pretty good. What did you think of it?
Oh, damn, we're going right into that.
Yeah, fuck it.
Oh, boy. So, okay, context. Going into this, I wanted to put myself into the mindset of, everyone else was when this was originally coming out.
So you wore Jinko jeans and listened to Limp Bizkit.
I wore a lot of coveralls, yeah.
Okay.
A lot of denim.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got my lip pierced
Oh, good.
in preparation. Yeah, I might be talking funny because of that. But yeah, so I was just trying to think of like what people would be expecting when watching this movie. What kinds of like trailers did they see and stuff, things like that. Very difficult to do. But I found that while watching it, it was almost as if I think I could suspend that, disbelief that like I have already seen multiple movies based on this, or
Right.
that have been taken from this.
We are like in like the twilight of the like found footage boom of horror.
But it was easy though. It was easy because I think it was so bare bones, and so well done
Yeah, absolutely.
that like I wasn't watching a knockoff and trying to or whatever. You know what I mean? It was just good. It was very good. I think the common criticism of how nothing happens, or at least at the end, you don't see anything. Finishing the movie, I remember, oh yeah, that's what everyone says. You don't see anything.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
It's very much true.
But I like that. I appreciate that. Yeah. That itself never became a trend. So I'm happy that it exists within the film like that. Because it leaves your mind open to like what and why. And to be honest, I didn't want to jump ahead so quick, but in the recent sequel from a couple of years ago, they just kind of show too much, and seeing that side of what Blair Witch Project could be, like really just was kind of a letdown. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was hoping for something, or even how you see someone like standing in the corner, but that's not like the witch or anyone. That's just like one of the
just Mike. Yeah,
Mike. Let's go over the names before I forget. So there's Mike, Heather, and Josh. Okay.
Yes, that's all their real names. Even their last names in the movies are their real names. Yep. Heather Donahue, actually, a funny thing this week, I just started rewatching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. She's actually in the second episode of Sunny.
Of like the whole
series. Yeah. I was like, wait, is that? Oh my God, it's Blair Witch Week, and this is what's happening to me? That's great. And it's been such a Blair Witch Week, dude. I can't wait to get into it. It's been an interesting week. Not only have I been like diving into this film, and like I feel like I've almost, besides maybe The Witch, worked harder on this movie than I ever have for this episode. But like also like, okay, a couple nights ago I wrote up the notes I have here, like my written out notes.
Yeah.
And this morning or last night actually, I go in to finish them up and print them out, and they're missing. They're gone. They're not on my computer. Nowhere. Right? I swear to God. And then this morning I turned my laptop on again, and there they are.
What?
I know. It's weird. Microsoft Word even told me, we can't find this document. I looked through like where my documents are, my downloads. I looked everywhere I would put stuff. Not there. Turn my computer off for the night, go to bed, wake up in the morning. I'm like, okay, now I got to write this all out again from my, the notes I took during the movie. And they were just there. And I was like, whoa. Ooh, there's a little bit of spooky. Yeah. You've always said my room is haunted anyway.
Your room is haunted. Your room is haunted, and that's further proof.
But yeah, it's been a pretty Blair Witch week.
Cool. I mean, I wanted to hear more. You're saving that for later.
Yeah, I got more. As we talk through it.
But to go back to what you said about like how you did more work for this movie in particular, I guess in a sense I did too, because I watched the documentary that was part of the special features for this, for the Blu-ray.
That's Curse of the Blair Witch.
Yeah, that's the name of the doc. Do you know where like that was like?
Oh yeah, 100%
aired.
Yep, it's on the Sci-Fi Channel, and it played about 2 weeks prior to the film's wide release.
Yeah,
and it later got a VHS release. I've actually seen VHS copies, and I was like, oh, what is this? Like years ago, back when I was like hunting for VHS tapes, and now I know what it is. Now I understand it, and
cool.
It's interesting. I guess. Do you want to jump into that before we talk about the movie?
No, yeah.
No? Okay,
let's save that for later.
All right, cool. So overall, do you have a positive feeling about this movie? Are you indifferent, negative?
I just think that I think it's good. I think it's a good movie. I think what I liked about it was that the tension. Like I think I talked a little on this with which movie? I know Evil Dead, or The Evil Dead, the first one, where just like chaos, like between friends, like where you're losing people, or like you can't all get on the same page with one another. That stuff just gives me like day-to-day anxiety. Like that's stuff that I dislike in my real life.
Right.
So seeing that in a movie like this, and where like it's life or death essentially, it's just traumatizing. It's a lot of anxiety. So I appreciate it within the art form. I do appreciate that like there's not so much build up the way Paranormal Activity did it, where like the stakes got like higher, or like the scares kind of got bigger and bigger.
Because there's no everything is from perspective in Blair Witch Project. Paranormal Activity has that, that camera in the bedroom has like when they put it down and they run away, or like they go to, I think they go out to the movies or something, and you see the Ouija board catch fire.
Yeah.
There is like the camera can exist when nobody's watching.
Right.
But Blair Witch Project, if the camera is on, somebody is looking through that lens.
Right.
And that's, that's the difference between that and most other, found footage movies.
Yeah. But I appreciated that, like, it just felt like each single instance of something going on, like where there's, somebody hitting the tent as they're all in it.
Which they really did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seeing like the rocks stacked up, or seeing like the little figurines, wooden stuff. I just liked the pace of it, I guess you would say. I think after a while, I got a little tired. I was kind of just waiting for something to happen because it was just like day in, day out. Okay, we're going to do this. Oh, we're back at the same place. More fighting, more chaos. And I think maybe it was just like one day too long, like one day extra, personally speaking.
Fair.
I don't think it's like an actual film criticism. I think it's just for me personally. It was a little dragging at that point. But no, I think it was great. Despite the ending. Or maybe in part due to the ending, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I used to hate the ending when I was younger, and as I grew older, I started to really love it. I'm eventually probably going to get a Blair Witch tattoo of just like the stick figure. It's just become a kind of a really important movie to me. It's definitely got like a very mixed reaction. You know, with fans, it's like there are some people who hate it, some people who love it. There are still people who believe it's real. You know what I mean? People who have conspiracy theories surrounding this movie. Yeah. And that's actually part of what the second film is about, Book of Shadows. Yeah, it's like, I guess we'll talk about that later, but it's almost like a meta sequel where the movie's a movie and then people go and try to do the real, like they go to Burkittsville and to like the Black Woods and whatever. Yeah. And then they get fucked by the witch.
Is that a real place then?
I think Burkittsville is real, but I don't know if the Black Woods are a thing because it wasn't shot in the Black Woods. Like the original was shot in a bunch of different locations.
I was interested.
Yeah. Doing a little trip.
Yeah, maybe.
I probably would.
I feel like I would go there and not so much into the woods.
I would go into the woods. I might not camp there. But I'll be like, hey, let's take an hour. Let's walk straight for an hour and see if we can get back.
And then get stranded.
If we got stranded, then hey, all right, let's rock and roll.
Guess we're gonna die here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come here, witch baby.
But you do want to take me to that one street too here in Jersey.
Oh, Clinton Road. Yeah.
I'm never doing that either.
Oh hell yeah. I've never done it at night. I've only done it during the day.
Don't.
Oh, I can't wait. Oh, the most dangerous thing are the dead men's. Yeah. Oh hell yeah. Yeah. Oh, we got it. Yeah.
Maybe.
We'll see. But what I really like about this film is that, you know, the filmmakers are new filmmakers. The actors are pretty unknown. So despite the fact that it was supposed to be this way, it really has this genuine amateurish quality to it that's doubled down by the fact that it's like a student film. You know what I mean? It has this high school AV club quality to it. Yeah. Or like, just like, you ever watch like bad skater videos from like the 90s where it's just like, hey dude, I borrowed my older brother's camera, just shoot me. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's got that kind of quality to it and it works so well.
Even like the documentary part of it. Like, where Heather's like speaking in front of like the cemetery. It's like, why is this like not good?
Burkittsville. Like it's why so
is it not a good documentary. Or like when she does like the slate and like she starts reading from the journal. I'm like, come on, like there's two cameramen, like one of them can at least just do that. Then you get coverage. I was just thinking of it as a filmmaker, like why is it so bad?
It adds to it because there is at no point during this movie did they know what they're doing.
No control.
Even you know, Heather tries to have that control,
right?
And she's the director, she's the creative force behind the project. She really believes in it. You know what I mean? But she doesn't at any point really have control over anything or know what she's doing.
I don't know about any point though. I do believe
they're already starting to get lost. Like as they walk into the woods, they were already like, oh well, we're a little off trail. Like there was never a point where she's in the control seat.
But Mike, like, you know, when he kicked the map into the creek, like that was unnecessary. I do believe that she was eventually gonna get them out of there, or the woods was just, you know, alive. And I mean, they did, like, what did they say?
Hey, we got a thread now between two movies.
The woods are
alive. Yeah. Hey, unintentional.
I got actually, you know what? With that, I think one of my favorite parts was the fact that they said like, oh, we've been walking, let's say, like south or west for this long, and they ended up back at the same place. That part really intrigued me. Yeah, that was great. I feel like that could be something that they could have expanded on. But even that they didn't, is fine.
When I start talking about the sequels in a little bit, we'll talk about that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like I said, there are some things about the Blair Witch Project that you might seem like you wanted more of, but you don't, and that's a little bit of that.
Oh man, I'm already let down.
I was for Blair Witch 2016. I gotta say, a little let down. I don't like the sequels as much.
So Blair Witch being the third one then?
Yeah, it's Blair Witch Project, then Book of Shadows: Blair Witch 2, and then Blair Witch.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. which is a direct sequel to this. It's like it ignores 2, and it's about Heather's brother going to find her years later.
Who's in the documentary? I believe.
Maybe.
No. Mike's brother's in the documentary.
Yes. What really set the tone for me for this movie are all those interviews at the beginning with the townspeople, and they feel so real and they feel off the cuff. That's partially because a lot of them were. They would literally just walk up to somebody on the street with a camera, say, "Hey, can we shoot you? Make something up about this." And then they would work with it. A couple of them were plants. A couple of them, that old man who you see kind of has like a very long kind of speech. He's in multiple parts.
Yeah, he's very sweet.
He is a plant, and the crazy old lady was a plant.
Oh, yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah, Mary Brown, I think her name is, or something.
So yeah.
But like the mother with her kid, that's totally just somebody making something up, and that's like the best part of that whole little segment.
Especially the kid trying to cover up.
You'd be like, no, and it's so good. And that just happened. That was just stuff that they shot.
I was thinking, I was like, how do they get the kid to do that? Probably said like, oh, can you tell a scary story? And the kid's just naturally like, hey, don't do that. I'm a kid. I don't want to hear that shit.
Yeah, something along those lines.
But more like, no.
That really, like, you feel the sense that this town kind of believes this. You know what I mean?
It's that small town kind of deal. Like, this is our story.
And when they explain, they explain the legends, there's such a blend of like myth and like fact, and it works so well where it kind of turns into this one huge long history of this town and this area. Yeah. And it really kind of almost like disorients you.
Yeah. I think what I like about those stories or the interviews is that some of them seem contradictory, or at least that they didn't make a coherent kind of timeline or coherent kind of myth, which kind of added to it even more.
Yeah, there's a kind of a coherent timeline. I've got it written up here.
Yeah, I mean there is in the documentary they definitely do put it there.
There's also an extra feature on the disc that's like a specific timeline with dates. I kind of pulled a lot of that out of this.
Cool, yeah.
But basically, it's the original witch, the Blair witch, quote unquote, is Ellie Kedward, who is banned from town for taking blood from children in Blair. She's banished into like a really harsh winter. And then the following year, all the people who accused her of being a witch and a bunch of the town's children, they start to either disappear or die. And then Blair is abandoned because everybody fears it's cursed.
Right.
Then a few years later, Burkittsville is founded on the old Blair spot. Children start to go missing, and then all culminates in an 8-year-old that goes missing, who returns later, but the search party who went for her doesn't. And those are the people who are found on Coffin Rock. And then another search party finds them. They go back for more people to help. They go back, and none of the bodies are on the rock.
Right.
Then there's the Rustin Parr thing in the 40s where he kidnaps and kills 7 children. That's where in the movie the facing away thing comes from, where it's like he took them down by twos and then put one in the corner because facing the corner because he can't stand there like accusing eyes as he's killing the other one. That is actually later changed in the Blair Witch in the 3rd movie to if you look directly at the witch, you die, and that's why people do that. Really kind of weird. I don't know why they wouldn't, and that becomes the whole basis of the ending of the film. So
that's a weird direction.
Yeah,
like
they just to switch it to be so faithful to that movie and then to switch that thing is really weird. But then there's the Blair Witch Project, like the footage in the film that's shot in 8 days in 1994. And then the footage is found a year later, used up by police, and it eventually gets released to the parents, who then, get it put out as like a film to like try and figure out the mystery, which gets released in 1999. And that's basically the timeline of everything in Blair Witch Project.
Yeah. And it's cool.
And it's super cool that they just did that. You know what I mean? They just built this whole, for this little 80-minute movie, like built this whole universe, this whole
Because you were telling
story.
Me, like, when I would watch Curse of the Blair Witch, you're like, oh, you'll get a good laugh from it, after you have seen the movie.
I love that scene where the professor is like, oh, if I would have read Her like,
Yeah,
and I just would have saw they went into the woods. I would have been
know.
fine. I was laughing so hard.
That was so weird. I was like, come on. Like, what professor isn't going to read the whole damn thing? Or overlook that whole. He just thought they were going to, interview, and that's it, call it a day.
And it's so obviously promotional because every time you see something from the movie, big in the corner says Blair Witch Project in capital letters. Right. It's just like, hey, if you want to see this, you got to come see the movie. You got to come see the movie.
What, Artisan? Who is it? What was
the Artisan, yeah.
Yeah, it has
their
it lets you know. It
under.
lets you know who's releasing it.
Yeah, there's no it's so obviously just promotional material, but it's great. It's such a
it's a lot of fun though.
You don't there's never ever going to be a chance for anything like that ever again in film to do something like that.
You got my wheels turning now. I'm kind of hoping I can think of something.
Make people believe in something.
Yeah,
Paranormal Activity was the next closest thing.
What if they did that? The whole 2012 thing was just just promotion for the movie.
For the movie?
Yeah, the whole Mayan calendar thing.
Was that Roland Emmerich or was that just like a copycat
One
guy?
of them.
Yeah.
I forgot my tier list.
Yeah.
I can't remember for you. Remember that?
Hell yeah. James Cameron's on that, right?
Okay, so it's Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
James Cameron. J.J. Abrams. Then Michael Bay. Then Roland Emmerich.
Okay.
And there's someone at the bottom. I feel like it's like
is
P.T.
it Paul,
Anderson?
Paul W.S. Anderson.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. Something that's like not actually Paul Thomas Anderson. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're all in the same boat. They're all the same people making the same movies, just like with different levels of ability.
But listen, Paul W.S. Anderson made Mortal Kombat, which is a lot better than anything J.J. Abrams made. Or Roland Emmerich.
J.J. Abrams made Mission Impossible 3, so I would take that back.
Okay, but Mortal Kombat.
I love me some Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Whatever.
Anyway.
But yeah, there's also a bonus scene, a great bonus scene in the special features of like the characters in the tent just theorizing about what could be going wrong. I would love it if it was in the movie because it is just this great like 3-4 minute scene of them being like, maybe there's hippies out here in the woods, man. Remember the hippies that used to live out here in like the 60s? Maybe they're the ones fucking with us. Maybe, we were interviewing all those townspeople. Maybe they're angry that we're out here and they're the ones fucking with us. It's just like this great moment of them just being like, we don't know what's going on, but there's obviously something going on. This is after the rocks, after the stick figures. So they're really freaked out.
And even that kind of adds to like, I guess, or just you saying that like it's the townspeople, that adds like a cool spin to it.
Yeah.
Because that's a great possibility.
Even though it's a witch.
It's false. Yeah, no,
It's definitely a witch. Yeah.
One thing I do want to point out is how not liberating the witch or witches or the whole aura of witches in this movie is, as opposed to the witch.
It's a kind of a passive look at witches. It's the witch as just kind of a monster rather than like as an idea. It doesn't. I wouldn't say it's anti-feminist in any way.
No. Well,
a lot of people attack this movie for being
on.
anti-feminist because of Heather's character.
Yeah, something I want to point out is that she gets way too much flack, and it seems very misogynistic the way they treat her.
They actually cut the film after its first few edits to make her a more sympathetic character because they really had her lay on like her kind of meanness in like the footage.
That they made her meaner?
Yeah. Well, they had her meaner in the more original cuts. And then as they cut the movie down to what we see, they took out some of her less sympathetic because they specifically didn't want people to hate Heather.
Yeah, I don't think she did not deserve any of the crap that was going on. No. I mean, oh my God, that one scene that's really, really heartbreaking is like, this is your motivation. Like, oh my God.
But it's such a great character moment though for everybody.
It is.
It's like a mutiny. You know what I mean? Like that's where they turned on her and they're like, look, we're all equal now. We're all like, we're not listening to you. We're not. I guess maybe that almost starts with like when they like
didn't deserve that, man.
That great line of like, it's very hard to get lost in America these days, and then they start singing the Star Spangled Banner, which is probably my favorite scene in the film. It's almost like the thesis statement for the film is that whole little moment.
Yeah.
But
she got
from there. They just like they've had it with her shit.
Yeah, and it's really fucked up though. It's like it gets to the point where it's uncomfortable. That all the shit she's going through. They mentioned it earlier, or that she says something like a passing statement, like I don't normally just hang out with like two guys, like as by herself. It has some elements to that. You can't like remove it, and it doesn't really target it too much. But if you just watch the movie with your own two eyes, like you see how
it's
sexist. Not the movie itself, but
it's a very unplanned dynamic because there was originally supposed to be 3 men.
Yeah,
and Heather just kind of blew them away with her audition.
Yeah,
and then they were
what
like,
did
okay.
she say?
That
you shouldn't.
Yeah, it was like they were asking like, oh, you murdered your child and you're up for parole. What do you say to get yourself out of jail?
Yeah, and she said something.
I don't think you should let me out. Yeah. So, hey, good for her because she's great in the movie. This movie would be nothing without its like excellent acting, like across the board.
Or if we can talk about this a little bit. If I hope you have some other tidbits on this, but just the actual process of making this movie. Like it's
what do you know, and then I'll fill in the gaps.
So it is truly these 3 people filming.
They're alone in the woods.
That's it. It's 3 of them. But what the actually the filmmakers behind the scenes were doing were hello.
That was a little interlude by my beautiful cat Tina.
Yeah, Tina's playing with my feet right now. Well, I'm distracted. So they're filming, but the people behind the scenes are essentially gave them like a path to go down. Like this is where you go.
They have a GPS. And at the beginning or end of each day, they would go to a location on the GPS, and they would drop off in these boxes the reels of film that they got, and they would pick up little packets for each of them that had instructions on how to act. There's no script, and nobody would know each other's motivations. Like when you see Mike go, I kicked the map into the creek.
Yeah.
That's what everybody but him was finding out at that moment that he did that.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's great.
There's so much, like they just shot all day and they whittled it down to this. The original cut of the movie is like two and a half hours.
And it seems like a really grueling shoot because they literally are hiking the whole time.
Yeah. And they are hiking the whole time. There was actually a lot of moments where they would run across a road and just go, oh shit, and have to like turn around and get back to a point where they're not like shooting near a road. They as the days went on, they would give them less and less food to where it was down to just like a power bar and like an apple and like plenty of, they said the one thing they didn't restrict them on is water. As much water as you want, we'll give it to you. And they were kind of ghosting them, the crew, and they would come at night when they were camping in the tents, and they would fuck with them, or they like Josh leaving was planned. Like they had like written in his little thing tonight, once everybody falls asleep, just exit the tent quietly and come find us.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So like,
that's cool.
Yeah.
I think I saw somewhere some article that said like let's say when there's noises outside or whatever, like it was more annoying than anything. It's like we were sleeping and now we have to like act.
Towards the end when they're running towards the house and there's a scene where Heather's like, what the fuck is that? And they're running. Yeah. There is actually somebody running in the trees, like dressed all in white, like next to them that you don't catch on camera.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they were really getting fucked with. They weren't just like being like, what's that, to like nothing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was freaking out.
But due to the nature of them shooting like that, it's not like a narrative movie where they're going to shoot oh my God, what the fuck is that? And it's very natural. The whole movie feels very natural because they are acting.
Oh my God, it's really such a great project. It really is just like all around a great...
a great Blair Witch project.
Ding. No, I love the way they did it. It seems, again, actors are cattle. Kind of like,
I love The Shining, so I love fucking with actors. So.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate, but I mean, it does make for a pretty great film.
Yeah. And it allows horror to happen in broad daylight, which is also a thing I really love. Again, talking about The Shining, talking about a few other movies, I love when you can create a sense of dread, when you can create tension without having it be dark all the time. Another crux of the movie from a couple years ago being that there's a point in the movie where it just switched where it just doesn't stop being night. And that's a plot point, is like, wait, our alarms are going off like at 7 a.m. and it just doesn't turn light, like they're in an infinite night.
That's which
part
one?
of the third.
The third one?
Yeah. Yeah, which is like, it's fine within the context of the film, but it doesn't have the real magic that Blair Witch Project has.
You know what else?
And like,
really...
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, what another horror movie that I like that deals with the daytime, It Follows.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It does that pretty well, too.
Good. I don't mean to go into It Follows, but I guess this is the only time we can really do it, because we can't do it for the show. I have a really big problem with It Follows, like it ending in a swimming pool, and the whole thing is, if it touches you, you die, and it's got a pretty good hold on her. You know what I mean? It kind of breaks its own rules a little bit.
Oh, I see. Well, it's not. It's not if it literally touches.
That's
you.
literally a line: is if it touches you, you die. In the movie, and I know it's not obviously not literally because of that, but it's just like sort of.
I didn't think it was literal. I thought it more meant like if they get their hands on you, you're done. Yeah.
Yeah. Where were we? Horror happening in broad daylight.
Yep.
Blair Witch 3 kind of sucks.
The whole process to making it. Just I just want to double down on that. Like, while it is a pretty low budget film, it seems like it was really well planned.
Yeah.
You can't do those kinds of things with the GPS, with the actors' notes, retrieving any of that. You can't do it without some really good pre-production.
And that's what they said in the audio commentary too, is like, just because this was cheap, just because it looks like it was, doesn't mean that we didn't put a hell of a lot of work and a lot of work before we shot and after we shot into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely is a labor of love for something like this. Heather Donahue actually had somebody come up to her on the street and say, "Oh, I wish you were dead," because it ruined the movie that it wasn't real.
Yeah, I was seeing that too. That
Did you read
more like an aftermath?
Did you read the Broadly article that they did?
No, I definitely didn't read theirs.
No, that was a really like very exhaustive whole thing. You know what she does now, right?
I saw that.
She grows weed.
Yeah, I saw that she has a book.
Yeah.
Where's she based out of? Do you know?
California, probably, or Colorado, somewhere out there. And a cool short haircut.
Yeah, and a different color too. I think she's like,
it's like a blonde.
Yeah.
Well, she's blonde and sunny too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, if you guys hear that rattling, it's my cat Tina.
That's Tina.
After
again.
now, I guess this is a good way to celebrate the 10th episode because Tina's now comfortable with Lorenzo being around my house.
Yeah, she's having a great time. This relationship has been growing.
Yeah, it's
steadily.
adorable.
Yeah, I love it.
She's my little black cat. So she's my little horror cat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess let me touch on the sequels a little bit.
Yeah.
Time, yeah.
Yeah. Do it.
Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. I'd seen all three of these films before. I just rewatched the other two today, just to have a little context. Up until today, I was like, I want to look at this film in a bubble. We're just gonna do Blair Witch, and then today I was like, you know what? I'm not done with this fucking series yet. I'm not done. And I have been on this. I've been watching it for the past like more than a week. I've just been doing Blair Witch stuff, reading articles and everything. But touching upon Blair Witch 2, it's a little rushed. Doesn't have any involvement from Merrick or Sanchez. They were offered to do a sequel, and they said, give us a couple years. I want to plan something. They really wanted to do a period piece about Ellie Kedward.
Ooh.
But that's a lot more expensive than found footage horror. So they wound up doing Book of Shadows with a totally new cast, actually the main character from Burn Notice is the main character in it, much younger. But it's got a lot of like late 90s stereotypes, a lot of like bad like nu metal music in the soundtrack, including an old song from our past, Feel Good Hit of the Summer by Queens of the Stone Age.
Oh, I love that song.
It's super cheesy. It's got a lot of like everybody is like goth or alternative in some way. And actually everything bad about like the marketing for the original movie is just like in the second movie. And I guess we'll touch on that too, some of the marketing stuff they did. But yeah, it's super rushed. It's super like, it's, hey, we're going in, it's a guy who's doing tours into the Black Woods because like everybody wants to see it now after the movie.
Oh, right.
But the
So
movie
this
is
the
fake.
Right.
In the second movie, the first movie is fake, but then real stuff starts to happen. Yeah. It's a little lame. The girls in it are really cute.
Hey, that's something.
There's like a cute goth girl and like a cute like witchy type girl. But other than that, yeah. It's the same way. I didn't really change my opinion on it from like my first viewing of it a few years ago.
Might just have to watch it for the soundtrack.
And the soundtrack is what it is. There's some Marilyn Manson on it and stuff.
Good,
like,
man, just some doses of nostalgia.
Yeah, that's what you're all about.
That's my thing.
Blair Witch I saw in the theater. This was my second time watching it. I own the Blu-ray just to have like a kind of a complete set of like Blair Witch stuff. But it ignores the second film completely. I actually have I had an interesting viewing of it the first time around because my girlfriend at the time, her ankle was broken. So we had to see it in like the handicap seats of the theater because she had crutches and a big boot on and everything. And I had never really sat in those seats before, and it was a packed house. But it's the theater in town, so you know what I'm talking about when I say this. Where it's just us and there's nothing around you.
You two,
and it's like a much different experience than when you're sitting in a movie theater and you got people here and here and everywhere around you. So you're just all isolated. There's a lot of room behind you and to the sides. You have a lot of space to feel unsafe in. And that really added to the movie. I liked it a little bit more the first time I saw it than today, where I had like a real clear head and was sitting down and watching it. But it focuses on Heather's little brother, who's like obsessed with finding the truth about her disappearance and believes that she's still alive. It's basically, it's all found footage again, where they're like making a doc about finding her. It's like a student doc. It hits a lot of the beats of the original. Like I said, it changes that Rustin Parr lore to being, if you look at the witch, you die of fright. So you can't look at her. You have to look away, and that's why they look in the corner, because she can't kill you unless you look at her. Like, she won't attack you. So that's kind of their defense towards the end of the movie, and they show the witch.
Like Left 4 Dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they show the witch, which is like just kind of this large creature that kind of like is like too big to fit in the hallways and bumbles around like hobbly. It's a cool design, but not what I want to think.
I'm picturing the Left 4 Dead witch, like the long drapey hair. Big nails.
No, it's not long drapey hair. Yeah. It's like almost like bald and like yellowy.
Because weird. Like they in the I feel like only in the documentary or maybe in the movie too. I can't remember. They show like little pictographs or like little, sketches of what they thought the witch would look like.
Yeah, and Mary Brown describes her as having like all hair all over her body too. Interesting stuff about that, including like the picture I wanted to show you, but that goes in with marketing, actually. But there's a part, like I said earlier, where it just becomes night for the rest of the movie, and there's like no way to escape that. They lose two of the characters, and they find them, and they've been like, we've been in the woods for 6 days, but it's only really been for like 12 hours they've been missing. But in like their like reality is like shifting and stuff, and they look like beat up. And then like it's just like they play around with it a little bit more, but it almost becomes like a little too much. Like the charm of Blair Witch Project and what really hooks you is that you don't really know what's going on, and then Blair Witch 3 really tried to give you almost an explanation for everything. Well, it's not an explanation, but like really hammered down. Here is what is happening. You know what I mean? And that's why it just doesn't work like the first does. But for marketing. They don't have a lot to go on. There's not a soundtrack in the movie. There's not a score. There's, your actors are dead. So what can you really do with that, quote unquote, dead?
Yeah.
So
they weren't even like allowed to be like seen like anywhere. They weren't.
Yeah, almost like how they did with Cannibal Holocaust in the 80s, where it's like you got to pretend you're dead. You can't take any other jobs for a while or anything. So, they kind of threw together a lot of promotional materials. There is in lieu of a soundtrack, there is actually if you watch the movie all the way through, it says soundtrack coming soon at the end in the credits through like Columbia Recordings or something, and like Eduardo Sanchez or something on the audio commentary goes, yeah, still working on that. But they put out a Josh's Blair Witch mix CD with like a bunch of like new metal and alternative gothy shit like from the late mid to late 90s on it.
So it's like his like actual mixtape or something, let's say.
Yeah, like here's the mixtape I made for the car way down.
Right. That's cool.
And that was just a way to put something out there. They had 2 video games come out, like one which is like a witch hunter and the other one is like I forget. And the big thing, this is a thing that's talked about a lot. I've seen a lot of this written up in articles of like weirdest toys of all time, but I think they're both McFarlane toys, but they made 2 toys of the Blair Witch when there is no Blair Witch in the movie.
That's weird.
And they're not the same witch. Here, let me show you the picture. And everybody can find this online. You just look up Blair Witch toy and you'll see it. But yeah, those are 2 different Blair Witch toys that they made.
I remember that.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You remember it from like the early 2000s?
I remember the case.
Mm-hmm. Because that's part of there's like a leather face and a bunch. This was a line that they did.
Yeah, that's so weird.
I still see that
creepy.
in like comic shops and stuff.
I mean, those are legitimately creepy witches, but yeah. I mean, I'm glad we didn't see them in the movie because this looks more, I don't know, mythical, more
comic booky almost.
Yeah, or Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
It's freaky. It's freaky how like I just easily can remember that.
But Yeah, they just were kind of just throwing everything at the wall in a way to like this movie hits so much.
Another marketing thing that I think we're overlooking here is their website.
Oh yes!
Very
oh my
big.
God! Wow! Yeah.
Which-
because it's gone now.
No.
it's for the new movie.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not.
I went on there and it is all over. It's all about the new movie.
I found it.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Yeah. BlairWitch.com.
Let me.
And then if you go to, they have like mythology, the filmmakers, the aftermath, the legacy.
But look, if I go on to here on my computer, it's for the movie BlairWitch.com.
That's
Own Blu-ray, DVD, and digital.
Kind of creepy how.
Wow! I told you it's been a Blair Witch week, man.
Oh man, that's not comforting. What's that word? Uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable.
Discomforting.
Discomforting.
That's the word. I'm shot, man. I'm tired. I haven't slept really all that much.
Yeah, you've been in a tent.
Yeah,
in the woods.
Been in the woods.
Yeah,
for a couple days now. No, yeah, this is it. This is the website. Maybe what I got here through like a hyperlink from one of the articles I was reading. Mm-hmm. So maybe you have to go through there.
Maybe it's just for the phone. Maybe that version of the website isn't optimized.
Yeah, good point. I mean, I got it from the Guardian article that says.
What are you using as your browser on your
Safari.
phone? Safari. So everybody take out your phones, or they're already out. You're listening to this.
You're already listening to them.
And go on Safari, and we'll keep playing. And just go on BlairWitch.com and check that out because like this is actually my first time seeing it. I never went on the website before, so
yeah. You know what? We'll give you a second. Go ahead.
Yep. And we're back.
Okay. I hope you're there. But yeah, so it's like from the Guardian. The article is called "How We Made the Blair Witch Project."
I read this too. Yeah.
And then if you click on the little link that says the website, you just go right to it. Where is it? It's like the third hyperlink, I think it is. Yeah, we already had some buzz going into the Sundance Film Festival, partly because of their website we built, suggesting our student documentary makers really had disappeared. And then boom.
That's so cool. Wow.
I think they honestly like hit it out of the freaking ballpark with marketing this movie, with making this movie. I think it's such a well-rounded cinematic event. It's great.
Okay, so the marketing for the movie, great. Capitalizing on the movie, not so great, because then we got the weird toys and the weird mix CD and the games and stuff.
Yeah, definitely not. I think they were trying to do too much with what they already got. They already struck gold. This budget was nothing.
Well, look what they did with the second movie, man. Like that's what they were doing. They were just trying to jump on it as quickly as possible. People were hungry.
That's ugly.
It came out in 1999. They were like, listen, by Halloween 2000, we need something else out, and that's why we got Book of Shadows like we did.
That's stupid. Yeah, these companies, they get greedy.
Yeah.
Obviously not the filmmakers because they weren't even part of it.
Yep.
So
until actually, I'm pretty sure they're both executive producers on Blair Witch on the third one.
That's fair though. I mean, it's been enough time.
And it's closer to their original idea. I'm sure they were just kind of flattered that somebody was, adding to the lore. And
executive producers, all they do is just throw money. That's all they do.
Sometimes it's just titular. So it's a way to say, hey, look, they're involved. They're on it. That's like Carpenter has a lot of like EP credits and stuff.
But they usually just
it's just they throw him money, and it's a way for them to say, "Hey, look, John Carpenter likes our movie," when he's really just kind of sitting there playing basketball, video games, and getting high.
Is that what he does?
Oh yeah, he loves basketball, video games, and weed, and that's what he does with his life.
I wonder if he's like, what was he like an NBA Live kind of dude, or was he like 2K Sports? Oh, that's that. When you meet him next,
next time
please
I'm like
ask
at
him.
a show or something,
or if anyone knows this, contact
let us know.
Yeah, that's a huge question, and I mean that. Send us any info on that. I was an NBA Live kid.
Fair.
Even though I knew for a fact that 2K is better. 2K was always better. I just enjoyed Live for some reason. I think it's something with the gameplay.
I played backyard basketball or baseball and football. I don't know if they did have a basketball one.
I never played the basketball one. I played the soccer one.
And you had their own team, like their own created characters, and then a few famous players in each sport. Right? It's great.
No, what was the big? I played baseball a lot. Yeah,
fun, super fun.
Yeah,
you can play as Randy Johnson, and he's like it's super tall for a kid, and he's doing crazy pitches. It's great. But yeah, do you have anything else to add about the Blair Witch Project?
I don't think so. I mean, I think though we touched on the website, which I really wanted to say. I'm surprised that we didn't earlier.
And I'm happy to have seen it because I never really actually got to see it until just now.
We'll take a look at it.
Yeah, we'll cuddle. We'll get real close and we'll read some Blair Witch lore.
Get some hot cocoa on this hot July night. Almost the end of July. Yeah. Actually, you know what? There is one thing.
This will be out. This will be out in August. So.
Oh, true. Very, very, very true. One thing I do want to touch that's not related to the movie though is that this is our 10th episode. I really just cannot believe it.
Yeah.
Wow. So I just want to say thank you. I know I've said this already.
To me or the audience?
Well, to you. I'm looking dead in your eyes. So.
you look me in the eyes most of the time.
I can't help it.
You just get lost in them?
I just get very lost, like, the Blackwoods. Yeah, but no, I mean, thank you, Doug, and then thank you to the listeners as well.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for putting up with us for so long.
Yeah,
and if you're new, if this is your first episode, thank you so much for checking it out. If it's your 10th, 11th, 12th, listening to the bonus episodes and our intro episode, thank you so much.
Yeah. Yep. We're very, very thankful, and that's why we just keep repeating it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess it's time to get on to the next movie. Look towards the future a little bit.
Yes. Onward to perhaps better things. I don't know. Tune in next time.
Yeah. Okay. So we're back on my pick for the next film. And I have chosen Neil Marshall's 2005 film, The Descent. What I and many others would consider the scariest horror film of like the 2000s. Fantastic film, I guess. Spoiler alert, in my opinion.
So what you're saying is you enjoy this movie.
It's okay.
I can't wait to hate it.
And it's on Netflix, so you guys can absolutely go check it out. No need to rent anything. No need to get any kind of streaming service. Pretty readily available film. Go check it out. I highly recommend it. It's super fun and super British.
I mean, the Brits are fine. I just know
you're gonna get scared.
Yeah, I remember, not wanting to see this or any trailers or commercials for this ever. My one cousin wanted me to watch this at a sleepover, and I was very adamant that we didn't. So, long time coming. It's finally caught up with me.
Yeah. Well, you're a ladies' man, and this is an all-female cast, so.
Am I a ladies' man?
Yes.
This is news to me.
Yes, absolutely. That's sultry voice. Everybody's been. That's why people tune in. They want to hear the soulful sighing of Lorenzo.
The podcast. Wrong podcast.
Oh, Lorenzo does double duty.
I do different podcasts.
You want to plug that podcast?
Nah, I mean, it has nothing to do with this. I don't think there's any crossover whatsoever. So
if you're into fashion, I'm going to plug it then.
Don't plug it.
If you're into fashion, go check out his other podcast he does through his job called the Suchi Podcast.
Yes.
SUUCHI.
Yes.
I listen to it faithfully, even though I know nothing and have nothing to do with fashion.
Quite honestly, though, if you have any like little interest in there, or you're interested in just business, we talk a lot about like just marketing or business strategies. Fashion plays a part, but I'm not necessarily a fashion person. It's more about like entrepreneurship and things like that. So yeah, if you or any of your friends are interested in hearing a very, very, very informative podcast, you can check that one out. It's called the Suchi Podcast,
and
which
I
do host.
Some great like fair use music that you guys found for that.
Yes. I did not make that. You did not make that.
No, you found that, right?
Yeah.
There's some like fair use.
Well, we actually updated the music. Did you catch that?
On the bonus episode?
On the bonus episode.
No, I haven't listened to it yet.
Yeah. New music. Because we're coming back. So next season, basically, it's a new season.
Hey.
We got our intern back. He's now on the team.
Awesome.
So now we're going to be a lot more, consistent.
Yeah. So check out Lorenzo's other podcast.
Thanks for plugging my work.
Yeah.
Literal job.
All right. Well, you can catch us on all of our social media. We are on Twitter at good_suffering. We are on Instagram at goodSufferingPod, and we are on Facebook at /GoodSufferingPodcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. And thank you, and we'll see you next time on Good Suffering.